A lot of people have thoughts, a lot of people have feelings, a lot of people in their feelings about Deion Sanders leaving Jackson State to become the new coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Michael Holley, how do you feel about this development?
You know, it's funny. I was talking to a big fan of the show earlier today, a brother named Nick Bates. A good brother at Boston University, runs the Howard Thurman. He's the director of the Howard Thurman Center. If y'all don't know who Howard Thurman is, look up Howard Thurman. Anyway, Nick Bates is like, man, I can't wait for y'all to talk about this on Brother from Another. So I just went up to him today. I said, no, I want to hear what you have to say about it. He brought up a really good point. He was like, how do we look at, I'm giving him credit. He said, you know, how are we looking at Deion really informs how you feel about it. He said, if you looked at Deion as part of the SWAC tradition, you looked at him as like the next Eddie Robinson. If you looked at him as the next guy who was going to bring back the brilliance and the artistry and the dignity to black college football, then you're disappointed. You feel betrayed.
Well, I mean,
but
well,
Nick's point.
Don't let Eddie Robinson Jr. hear you say that. Just so you know.
And by the way, Eddie Robinson Jr. Eddie Robinson Jr. He may have lost the rhetorical battle. He may have lost the freestyle to Deion, but he won the argument. Going away. This is exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
That Deion is not really about. Eddie Robinson Jr., no relation, by the way, said, hey, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And he named some people in this conference that if Deion's being honest, and a lot of us are being honest, there are some names that we hadn't heard before. Like he knew what he was talking about. So he really was about SWAC. And that was his point about Deion. He said Deion's a great Hall of Fame football player. Only guy to play in the Super Bowl and the World Series. Great talent, great entertainer, all of that stuff. Great recruiter, great advertiser, pitchman, preacher, all that stuff. But he really wasn't about that SWAC life. And he's right. If we were looking at him as a guy who was going to stay in the SWAC for the rest of his career, I'll speak for myself.
That's on us.
I was projecting. He never said that. He never gave that indication that this was a lifelong mission for him. And so,
as a matter of fact, he was pretty transparent about if the right job came along, he'd be foolish not to listen. I'm pretty sure he's on record as saying that.
But he has done, and I don't know if this is intentional or not. I know there's only one Deion. Like Deion is just, he's got a magnetism. He's got charisma. He just oozes charisma. He doesn't even try. It's just natural for him. But he may have unintentionally, Mike, opened the door for other people. People weren't looking at historically black colleges and universities for their next coach. Now, Colorado was, because Colorado knows about some black coaches. Okay, Colorado hires a lot of black coaches. This is like third in a row for Colorado. And the rest of big-time college football is like, huh? We don't. Where do you find these? Where do you find these Afro-Americans? Where are they? Colorado knows how to find them. But the fact is, he's 27-5 at Jackson State. I didn't realize they never had an undefeated season in their history. He had the first one. He turned around this program. He got big-time recruits to come to Jackson State, and the attention was there. And he knows how to coach. So what Deion did was prove his chops at a lower level, whether we like to say that or not, at a lower level of college football. He proved his chops. He got an opportunity. He got a pay raise. He got a bigger platform, and he took it. But Nick's point, and this is what I love what he said, and I'll give it back to you. Nick said, why are we always looking at he said, whether it's sports or civil rights, why are we always looking at a messianic figure to save us? So there are a lot of people doing the work, but we want that one guy to represent all the things that a lot of people can be doing. He's right. I have no issue with Deion Sanders, although I wish he had stayed at Jackson State for 10 years, but he never claimed that, and I shouldn't have expected it.
I like how you put that. I'll answer my own question. I ask you how you feel. I'll tell you how I feel. I'm disappointed. Have I ever told you the story of that time where Jesse Jackson checked me over Jackie Robinson? Let me tell you that story.
Yeah. Tell me again, because I remember this.
Okay. So I did a Negro Leagues like symposium panel for the Chicago White Sox, and Jesse Jackson was there. Reverend Jesse Jackson was there, and I made the remark about Jackie Robinson getting called up to the major leagues, and admittedly, I was not referencing him getting called up from Montreal. I was talking about from the Negro Leagues to the major leagues. And Jesse Jackson was like, and again, I didn't mean it this way, but it was just, it was just the way I expressed it. I wasn't thinking about how that sounded and what that meant. And he was like, what do you mean called up to the major leagues? That would imply, he said in so many words, that would imply that the Negro Leagues were inferior to the major leagues. When, as we all know, or should know, the talent in the Negro Leagues was equal, if not superior, to that in the then segregated major leagues. Mm-hmm. I bring that up to say, the reason I'm disappointed is I thought Deion Sanders at Jackson State was a representation of the fact that their ice ain't colder. I thought that Deion Sanders was standing for something bigger. And so you said, if you thought that he was going to be a Jackson State or a SWAC lifer, then that's on you. I guess I'll agree with that by saying that it's on me for buying what he was selling. Because I'll be honest with you, Michael. Yeah, that's how you got Travis Hunter to go there. I mean, that was the brand. The brand was, hey, we're going to do this here at Jackson State. We're going to put on for HBCUs here. Like, you don't have to go to a PWI, a predominantly white institution. You don't have to go to Florida State. You can come to Jackson State and get a great education, be nurtured, be protected, be coached, be developed. You can get the same things here. Now, we know the resources aren't the same. We know that. But I thought that Deion was going to be at the forefront of this zeitgeist. I thought that he was going to be a part of changing that. Because when he said to his own team, when he said, in coaching, you either get elevated or you get terminated. Well, that goes back to what I just said about Jesse Jackson. Elevated. The idea, and I realize he's the first HBCU coach to get a Power 5 job. But that Power 5 job is the worst program in the Power 5, or among the worst programs in the Power 5.
The idea in their conference.
We're in their conference. Yeah, they've been bad for a long time. I mean, last time I checked for Colorado, it was Cordell Stewart, Eric Bieniemy. You know what I'm saying?
You can't even remember.
I remember. I remember. I used to fool with Colorado. I used to fool back in the day because in New Orleans with Cordell Stewart, I used with the advisor. I used to check for Colorado. So what I'm saying is the idea that represents elevation runs counter to what he was building and the pride that he was reinstilling. I don't want to say instilling because that pride isn't going anywhere, but reinstilling or reigniting or expanding when it comes to not just Jackson State, but HBCU football in general. Now, I feel the need to say this. I don't think I'm disqualified from having this conversation, but let's just put it all out there. Well, Michael, where'd you go to school? Michael, where'd you go to school?
Point Park.
I went to Loyola.
Point Park University.
Well, that was for me. But yeah, you too. But that was for me. I went to Loyola, New Orleans. I was asking myself that question. I went to Loyola University in New Orleans.
I thought you said Michael. I just heard myself.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got you right. My people went to Southern. My mama went to Xavier. You know what I'm saying? I got my stepdad went to Southern. My daddy went to Prairie View. I went to Loyola New Orleans, a Jesuit institution. All right? Michael, what network you on? I'm on Peacock. I work for Peacock, NBC Sports, and Amazon. I will flatter myself. I've never been offered anything, but the truth is I don't work at BET. I don't work for the Grill. I don't work for Revolt. Okay? So to your point about projecting, it's like I don't want to sit here and say that Deion should continue his coaching career indefinitely at an HBCU when I didn't even so much as attend an HBCU. There's a part of me that feels like I don't want to come off as hypocritical. I'm just strictly basing this off of what the brand that Deion was putting forth. And that was, again, their ice ain't colder, their water ain't wetter. We can do it big here. And they did do it big. Maybe not big enough. Last thing I'll say before I get back to you, because I don't want to I don't want to dominate this conversation any more than I already have, is that I find Deion Sanders infinitely less interesting today than I did a few days ago.
Really?
Now he's just another coach. He's just another guy that's, look, if he'd have gone to Florida State, and many have said this, and listen, bruh, realize something. I wanted to go to Florida State. I had a Florida, if you could find old pictures of me in high school, I had a Florida State starter jacket, a Florida State starter hat. I love the Florida State Seminoles. I memorized the Notre Dame fight song because I lost a bet in '93 when the Seminoles lost at South Bend. Okay, that's how. And it was because of Deion Sanders and Terrell Buckley and Amp Lee and Bar None and Casey Weldon and rest in peace Bobby Bowden. Like that was my squad. So I'm somebody who was raised watching Deion Sanders. That's why I wrote a T-shirt today. I got a T-shirt for every occasion. That's why I wore it. Okay. Many have said this. Had Deion gone to Florida State, it's like, okay, go home, dog. We got it. Had Deion gone to the NFL, had Deion gone to a premier program, which maybe he makes Colorado, and I'm rooting for him to succeed at Colorado. Maybe he brings Colorado back to prominence. It would be more understandable if it's a job that you just cannot turn down. But to go to Colorado, you were just trying to get a pay raise. You were just trying to get another job. That's what it comes off as. And again, I don't begrudge him for that.
Hey,
and I don't want to sound like I'm begrudging him for that because it's not my pockets. It's not my bills. And it's not my calling.
Okay.
And listen, I will never tell somebody who says that God told me to do this. Who am I to tell you what God told you to do? If that's what you think your path and your calling is, that's fine. I'm saying I thought, and I don't think that it was strictly my misperception of the situation. I think it was what he was putting forth. I thought that this was bigger than just the next coaching job for Deion. And maybe shame on me for falling for that proverbial banana in the tailpipe. But I thought that that's what this was about for Deion Sanders. Was starting something, was being a trendsetter, not just jumping for Colorado, where for me now, Michael, he's nothing but another coach. He was way more interesting when he stood for something bigger. When he's I'm saying when he stood for something, why not? When he was at Jackson State, the story was you're a storyteller. You're a remarkable storyteller. The story was better when he was at Jackson State.
Yeah.
What's the story at Colorado here? That he took another job, and now he got to win or he gets fired there?
Well, it's a couple things. One, he did start something. He did stand for something. What we are caught up in is that we thought it was going to last for a generation. He started something, and that window is not as.
It's not that. I didn't think he'd leave for Colorado. I just want one specificity.
Okay.
One load. That's all. I just want to. Not that I thought he'd spend the rest of his life at Jackson State. I thought he'd stay there longer than 3 years. I didn't think he'd leave for Colorado. I felt the same way when TCU.
And there's something about Colorado
came up last year. I felt the same way, even though they're a playoff team. I felt the same way last year.
I understand. There's a Colorado part of it. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But Deion Sanders is a guy who didn't have any head coaching experience. I know he had Prime Academy. He's always working with young people, living in Texas, doing his thing, and promoting young talent. But he never had that opportunity at the collegiate level. So Jackson State was the opportunity for him. It's a historically black college and university, and there's a long tradition of those institutions to the NFL, and not only sending players there, but sending Hall of Fame players there.
Correct.
So they gave him an opportunity where maybe nobody else was willing to do it. And he went there, which is significant. That Deion Sanders was there. That brought attention to the conference. And then Deion Sanders not only won, but brought big-time, real blue-chip players to the conference that are blue-chip players on day one and maybe not 4 years later. Like what the conference is known for is blue-chip players. We don't see them in the front door, But going out to the NFL, be like, hey, man, they can play.
Yeah.
But he changed it around. Hey, we know we already have great players in this conference, but we're going to bring them in and bring some attention there. So think about what he did.
Added attention.
He brought a lot of it. He brought attention, more attention, a bigger spotlight to the SWAC.
No, yeah. I'm not saying he wasn't successful.
And it can, but all the things that he did, that doesn't go away because he left.
Right.
No.
Right.
So
Right.
why can't other people do
Right.
that? Why can't other people do that?
No, that part that was your guy named Nate. That part. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that because it's like we can't all of a sudden be like, all right, guess we ain't paying attention to HBCUs no more. Look, I just came from the Bayou Classic, so I'm definitely in the HBCU same frame of mind. I was in New Orleans for the Bayou Classic. Grew up on that game, got to cover it with NBC. NBC's got it back on NBC after it was on NBC Sports for a while. It was on national network television on Saturday. The mainstream media needs to not just conveniently have a fascination with Deion Sanders and ignore the rich tradition and the players and the high level of football taking place at HBCUs. The celebrities don't go away just because Deion is gone. I get it. But all those things that he did for Jackson State, did he do it for the larger mission or did he do it for Deion? And I thought he was doing it for a larger mission. And is the mission accomplished after 3 years? I thought we were ushering into a new era of people saying, I don't have to go to Colorado. I can go to Alcorn State like Steve McNair did. I don't have to go to USC. I can go to South Carolina State. Like Darius Leonard did or Shaquille Leonard did. I thought that's where we were now. And I thought he was the face of that movement, not somebody who was going to move the first time somebody came calling with a bigger check.
Okay, can we have this conversation? Because we can't. This brother from another. We can talk for real, right? This brother from another.
Well, you only got me today, so if we don't have it now, we ain't having it.
That's right. I gotta get you because I may not see you again until 23, and you know I ain't playing. And you probably have in your mind, this is my last show at 22.
No,
so I got to take advantage of Michael Smith. It's not. It's the next to last at 22. But I'll say, man. Why does it have to be like this? Why does it have to be like this? It's like,
do I sound like I'm hating? Am I hating? Do I sound like I'm hating?
Hey, man, come on.
I'm not, dog. I wore the shirt. I'm not trying to hate. I'm just saying what I thought it was, and maybe that's my fault.
But this is what,
maybe that's my fault.
This is what we're doing. We're doing this stuff like, oh man, it's only about the paycheck. Well, first of all, can we say even though the cultural experience is priceless? The paycheck does have limits. Where SWAC versus power, that is real. And so I'm not going to dismiss that. I'm not going to count as money for him.
I'm not either. I am not a pocket watcher. A lot of people say I don't have a price. Well, you just ain't heard the right number yet, okay? Like, listen, I have taken the proverbial bag before at a call. I get it. I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm simply saying. No, and if that's what it is, that's fine. But just understand where I'm coming from, because I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm in no way saying that Deion doesn't have a right to do what's best for him and his family or his career as he sees it. I just thought, again, my bad. You know what they say about assuming. I just thought that he was in it for something bigger, and that he was going to continue to be a part of a renaissance. Like, instead of just having a cup of coffee at Jackson State. He did a damn good job and did a lot of good for the conference.
That's
fine. It's like, that's it? That's all. And again, I don't want to be hypocritical because it's like, I don't, you know what else I don't do? I don't cover HBCU sports full time either. So if I'm coming off as a hypocrite, that's not my intention.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. You're not coming off as a hypocrite. The problem is that there are so many areas that need restoration, renaissance, renovation, innovation. There's so many areas that need it that Deion Sanders is in a position where he did that at Jackson State. But let's face it, big-time college football needs him in a different way. Maybe those kids at Colorado need him in a different way than the kids at Jackson State did. Let's face it. Big-time college football has done a bad job of hiring black coaches. We need black
100%.
faces at these big time schools too.
I'm not saying his work is done.
He's needed there. He's needed at Jackson State for one reason. He's needed in Boulder, Colorado for another. And the paycheck, I know, he's made a lot of money in his career.
Maybe who knows? But that's not for us to determine. That's not for us to determine at all.
Yeah, it's hard to say. You know, let me just give you a little detail, and just like let's just sneeze at this. A little detail. They win a national championship. He gets a bonus of $750,000. Every win over 6, he gets an additional $150,000. 150 grand. 150.
Michael,
Just win 7 games. 150 grand.
And listen, more power to you. All I'm saying is, as long it's no different when it comes to black businesses, black media, black anything, black owned, black anything. As long as the Colorados of the world are seen as a promotion, as long as that's seen as a level up, we'll continue to be here. So somebody, and I thought it was Deion, was going to be like, no, this is bigger than, no,
level of play across the board.
It's not equal. It's not equal. But when is it ever going to be if people keep flocking to what they think is better, to greener pastures? When is it going to be
greener
different?
In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways.
Literally and figuratively. Literally, even the field. Hell, even the fields. I get it. The facilities, I get it. But it's never going to change if somebody don't say, no, I'm good where I'm at. Water the grass where you at.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.